Hey guys, Doug Giles here, a little Warriors Wildmen action. Rich, we're going to be talking about, welcome my buddy, my compadre. We're going to be talking about the Sacred Leaf cigars, man. It is the cigar that binds us, Richard.
You know what's awesome, Doug? Good to see you. You know what's awesome that I'm excited about? We talk about so many serious things. It's nice to talk about cigars. It's not that we're not serious about cigars.
Well, I'm very serious about cigars.
We're very serious about cigars. But it's nice to talk about something that's fun to talk about.
So, how did you get into cigars, man? And then you can ask me how I got into it.
All right, I got into cigars. I was hanging out one night, and they had some there, and I bought one for myself, my brother, and another friend. And they were dry and terrible, and we cut them and fired them up, started smoking them, and made me sick as a dog.
What kind of stick was it? Do you remember what kind of cigar?
Nah, I didn't even know. Had no clue. And that's probably 6 years ago. And I was like, well, that wasn't an enjoyable experience. So then I went to a nice cigar lounge, and I smoked a cigar. I don't know the brand. You'll probably know what it is. It's called the Champagne. It's a very light cigar. It's I could look it up.
It's not a flavored cigar, is it?
No, but it's just super light. They suggest it for beginners, but apparently I was inhaling it. Made me sick as a dog. So even the mention of that, it makes me want to gag. And so I had to learn, had some old guys, at some cigar lounges teach me some tricks. And I bought some cigars one day, and a guy said, you will try this one, try this one, try this one. And then he hands me a Padron 1926 anniversary. And he goes, look, I know this is $29, but just buy this and put it in your bag. And I was like, all right. So I threw it in there, and I was hanging out with my brother, and I said, hey, check this out. I'm about to smoke a $29 cigar. And I said, I'm sure it's like wine. I won't be able to tell the difference. It won't even matter. I fired it up, Doug. I took like 2 draws off of it, and I looked at him. I said, I'm in trouble because I just fell in love with an expensive cigar. Yeah, that was my journey right there.
My motto's always been, I would rather spend the money to smoke a stick that I enjoy than, just like you said, plow through some ragweed, some crap cigar, and have a crap experience. Not worth it, man. And it doesn't take, you don't have to go up to, the $29 mark. I mean, Padron's got the 5,000 series or 7,000.
And that's a special occasion for me.
I
don't smoke $29 cigars.
I was fortunate when I lived in Miami after Hannah destroyed Acorn to have the Padrones invite me to their factory down there in Little Havana, and made a great dinner for us all. We sat there for 5 hours, brother. We smoked the 26, we smoked the 64, we had the 85s in honor of Jose's, the old man's 85th birthday, God rest his soul. And when we were leaving, and we were there, man, with Jorge and Orlando and Jose and all their family and their wives and stuff. And when we were leaving, Jorge said, Doug, come over here, man. We go into this like secret lair of the Padron factory, and he just starts grabbing handfuls. And I go, what are these? They're unlabeled. He goes, this is our special stash.
Ah.
Oh. And I was like, man, if I was gay right now, I'd kiss you right on the mouth. But I'm not. But I'll shake your hand and thank you. And another thing that the Padrones did, and everybody thinks, man, them cigar smokers, they're heartless, just fat cats, rich, smoking sticks, not caring about people. Jorge said, he goes, you do hunts with the Wounded Warriors, the Purple Heart hunts. Like, yeah, man, we got one coming up. Dude, he freaking grabbed a stack of 1926s. I don't know how many boxes were. And it's like, I want you to drop these off to the brothers. Tell them that the Padron thanks them for fighting against and taking bullets against enemies, foreign and domestic. Mucho gracias from the Padron family. That's a kind of environment that I didn't start there, but man, when I got brought in for that brief moment in Miami to the Padron world, absolutely takes it to the next level. Yeah, and I think like anything, like guns, like girls, like whatever you're into, man, if you have somebody school you properly in the art of what you're about to get into, you can save yourself a lot of money, a lot of bad experiences, and you can really get to where you're quickly enjoying the finer things in life.
Yeah. And you know what, Doug? It's like anything else too. Sometimes the accessories make things a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable, right? Check this out, Doug. I don't know if you can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
This is a Peter James leather cigar bag that some of my buddies gave this to me for my birthday last year. Check this out. Nice zipper, right? It's got a little pocket on the outside. Watch this, Doug. Look at the inside of this. That's all leather, bro. That's leather, right?
Black and red, man. That's Texas Tech.
Check it out. You know, you got your pouch that holds cigars right here. Hold on, I got to give one to Zeke, the producer. That's the tax. There you go, Zeke. So you got the pouch here. Check this out, Doug. And this holds your little Huma pack right here. And this is all leather. This is cool. And then right here, got my Cigar torch. Triple torch, of course.
Rock and roll.
And got to have a cutter. I like a V cut.
Yep.
But in this bag, I carry my Room 101 Special Skull Series. I don't know if you can see that.
I like it.
And look at this. Bam.
Good Lord.
I'm going to pass that off to Zeke because he's going to need that. And then, Doug, check this out. Do you see this, Doug? Can you see that?
Hey, man. I ain't got my glasses on. What is it?
What it is, it's aluminum, and it's a cigar holder.
Oh,
so
God
you can
bless
put it on the table. Check that out, Doug, with a Safari cigar. And I bought it because there's a spot for it in the bag, and I couldn't handle the spot being empty. It was weird, right?
You have to fill
So I bought this. Yeah, I bought this, and I thought, okay, you know, whatever. But I would go places where there's not an ashtray or something, and you set that on the table, Doug. It is cool, man. It's just. You know
what I had?
Nice experience.
When I was in, it's a beautiful kit, man. You know what I had when I was really into.
And it was a gift. It was a gift. Makes it better.
Exactly. You got a little liberal in you, you know, free candy. It's always better. So when I was in Miami doing a lot of fishing, I'd always be smoking, man. Smoking a stick out there on the Butyl, whether it's, you know, in the Atlantic or in the Cuts or in the backcountry in Biscayne Bay, down at the Keys, Upper Keys, Ragged Key, Elliott Key, all those beautiful places teeming with fish. And, you know, sometimes we'd lock into some big sharks and we'd be in skinny water and I'd be trying to smoke and fight one of these monster fish. Like, dude, I got to put my cigar somewhere. And I don't know what happened to it. But there's some apparatus that latches on delicately to the cigar and then also holds on to like one of the poles on or one of the
they have those for golf carts, Doug.
Exactly.
Me and my brother have those when we play golf, and it holds your cigar.
No, and I'm sitting there looking at it, it's like, man, that's a miracle. That's straight up miracle, man. Whoever
because it's soft.
Whoever invented that was, you know, in the whole Ben Franklin type, Paul Allen, Bill Gates type zone.
Yeah.
And my gosh, man, it's pimping.
Yeah, because it's got a strong clamp, but where it holds your cigar is nice and soft.
And look at this.
So it doesn't like crush it.
So you're showing off your stuff. I've had this cigar holder. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I have seen that.
I've had this cigar holder for 10 years, man. That is my baby. And it's got Texas Star on it, of course. Got cowhide. Everybody thinks it's a zebra, but I let them imagine. My African buddies, is that a zebra? Sure, why not?
It's whatever you want it to be.
It's got a rosewood ending, or a rosewood end right here, and it holds 3 sticks. You know, I smoke the big 6x60 Safari cigar ring gauge, so it holds 3 of them down in the magazine, and I always have one in the pipe.
Yeah,
and that's how I roll. And like you said, the accoutrements from artwork to interior design to rich leather and mahogany and books. I dig everything about it. And you know why I like it, Rich? Because I'm an old soul, and it tosses me back to years gone by where men were men, didn't have to make apologies about it. They weren't sitting around with doilies and precious moments figurines, having their wife say, "You don't smoke anything, you son of a bitch." They would relax, and they would enjoy life, and they would talk. And here's something. I don't know if you used to smoke weed and stuff. I was a big dope smoker. And here's what I like about the cigar vibe, the cigar funk. It takes me back I'm a little bit smarter than I was back then, but it takes me back to those days where me and my buddies would sit around and do bong hits and just talk about life. And most of it was stupid Beavis and Butthead type stuff, but there was camaraderie, and it was and it was around particular accoutrements and illegal substances. But boing, I stumbled onto the cigar with my buddy Cameron Hitchcock, who's a pilot for American Airlines. He was my host when I was doing a speaking engagement down in Palm Beach, and we're sitting at his beautiful home there in Palm Beach. It's got these great canals, and we got a swimming pool and just palm trees. It's freaking nutty. And he goes, Doug, you ever smoked a cigar? It's like, man, I've never smoked a cigar. But I'm sitting there watching you smoke that cigar, and you look like you're having way more fun and enjoyment than moi. So let's do it, man. And he tossed me a licenciado. It had the Cameroon wrapper. Never forget it. A licenciado. I don't know dog crap about cigars. So it was very mild. It wasn't like, and I didn't taste it for 7 weeks, after smoking it. And I was hooked, man. And I was in the right place to get hooked, Miami, Florida. And that's when the cigar boom in the mid 90s was just going nuts, man. Everybody's crushing it and stuff. But I gotta say, it's the camaraderie, and we had a Holy Smokes get together. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's a great group of guys. They started 15 years ago. It was a man, I can't remember his last name. His first name's Kay, and he started this group where pastors would come to his house and just sit there and decompress, smoke a cigar, have a scotch. He's got a wonderful house in Colorado Springs, lots of ministries there. And it turned into this now global network of thousands of members who are predominantly believers. I'd say 99% of them. They don't sell anything to anybody. It's just a place where they sit and talk about life, family, God, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's cool, man. You know what, Doug? Oh, by the way, this ring that I wear on my finger, that's from Room 101, the same guys that did the cutter. They had the Osak that was out a few years ago. It's one shot, one kill, and it was a new cigar company, and he got Cigar of the Year on that. But he also is a silver jewelry designer, Matt Booth. I met him, got some cool pictures with him, and I got to give a shout out to Fox Cigar Bar in Scottsdale and Gilbert. You've been there with me.
Bro, Fox Cigar Bar is one of my favorite cigar bars in the world, and I've been to a lot, man.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, it's great staff there, and the owner, his name's Mitch. He's a super cool guy. We recorded our first episodes of Warriors and Wildmen at Fox in Scottsdale, so if you ever get out in Arizona, you want to go check it out. I'm not getting anything for saying that. Just really like the place. I think you would like it. But I'll give you, I think this story tells how awesome it is to smoke a cigar. So my son, Levi, Levi, we've been hunting together, and Levi said, he was turning 18, and he said, Dad, I only want one thing for my birthday. I said, okay. He said, I want to go to Cigar Bar with you, and I want to smoke my first cigar with you.
Come on.
And I thought, wait a minute, whose birthday is it? Is it my birthday? Is it your birthday? Like, that's a gift for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I take him down to Fox Gilbert, bought him a Padron, top of the line Padron. Bought me one too, because, go outside, he gets a Coke and I get a drink and we sit outside. I teach him how to cut it. I explain the design of the cigar to him, and he smells it and teach him how to cut it and start smoking it.
Never forget that.
And he says, Dad, this cigar is awesome. And I was thinking, yep. And then one of the guys that worked there, he came out and I said, hey, this is my son. It's his 18th birthday. He's smoking his first cigar, and he looks down at it and he goes, man, you started him off at a pretty high level. And then, so we sit there, Doug, for 2 hours, right? And my son says, hey, Dad, I thought smoking a cigar was like about smoking a cigar. He said, but I've been here and I'm looking around and everyone's sitting around talking. And he said, and I'm realizing that like everybody comes here and they're talking. And I said, Levi, you just got it. That's,
Amen.
It's not just smoking the cigar, which I do it by myself. I know you do too. But there's something cool about now we can't go anywhere because we're doing something. We are committed to this for an hour, and then you're relaxed. And we sat and talked about life, and he loved it. And you know what? Last year on his 20th birthday, we went and did the same thing at another place down in Yuma. But we went and sat down and had a cigar together. And I think if people don't understand it, they're like, "Oh, that's a nasty habit." Well, you don't understand what smoking a cigar is about. It's about sitting down, taking some time, relaxing, having good conversation. And I don't want to smoke cigars with people I don't like, Doug. That's a rule that I have because I can't get away fast enough.
Yeah, and a nasty habit is overeating or chain smoking cigarettes. That's a nervous habit. A cigar, it's landing the plane. It's chilling out. It's relaxation. And I think, bro, that's one of the greatest stories. One of the I'll never forget when Regis was 14, and I took her on her first Axis deer hunt. And we were at the Brady Ranch, beautiful place, man. Gorgeous plantation there just south of the big Lake Okeechobee in South Florida. And she smoked this Axis, man. Used my dad's 30-30. That gun I bought with him, I think at Gibson's or some kind of department store that doesn't exist back in the day. And my dad was still alive, so he was real happy that Regis is putting his deer hunting rifle back into play because he retired it many moons ago. And man, she picked out a spot on that frickin' Axis deer's shoulder and just boom, just drilled it, knocked it down. So anyway, we had the boys gut it and skin it, put in the cooler, and on the way back, we're driving back, and I opened my humidor. I go, "You want to smoke one?" She said, "Absolutely." Grabbed a cigar, and we're frickin' driving back to Miami, and both of us are talking about the hunt, talking about the next hunt, talking about life. And I don't know if it's legal, what having her smoke a cigar at that young age, but it was familia exquisito, Rich, an exquisite time with my daughter. And I can't tell you, brother. I mean, we've had these occasions with you and the amigos there in Phoenix and Yuma, to where kingdom concepts, business ideas, relationship bonds, stuff that would have never occurred with you and Levi texting back and forth. You get dad and son, you get brother and brother, you get a group of amigos, and you sit down, and again, you talk, and you're not on the phone and doing all that other shit, and all kinds of things get parlayed, and I think the world becomes a better place, man.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it's an old school thing in a new school world. You know, we're not vaping. You know, that'd probably be the opposite, be the other end. But I'll tell you another great cigar story. I'm not a cigar expert. I just know what I like. And I was on a cruise with Annie. And, you know, Annie's a beautiful woman, and she was dressed. We went to dinner that night, and she's wearing a black dress and red heels and blonde hair all over the place and red lipstick, looking like $1 million, you know. People must have thought I had $1 million to be with a woman that looks that good, right? So she loves me from my mind, obviously. And so we go over, and on the cruise, there's just one little cigar lounge and one little place outside where you can sit and smoke. So we're sitting there, and you know Annie smokes cigars, you know, and she don't mess around. Like, she smokes Safari cigars. She smokes, you know, Maduro wrapper, a lot of Dominicans, you know, she's all about it, Nicaraguans. And she's sitting there smoking the cigar, Doug. Looks like a cigar ad. This old guy comes up to me, shakes my hand, leans down and says into my ear, "Well done, young man. Well done." And he walked away. And it's just so cool because she enjoys that. She enjoys smoking a cigar.
Instead of sitting over there going, "Can you hurry up?"
Oh, yeah, she doesn't do that. She doesn't do that. Yeah. You know, it's super cool. But you know, it's funny. I don't smoke in my truck, don't smoke in my house. I smoked in my truck one time, but I couldn't get the smell out for a while. But once I get another vehicle, I'll probably, you know, like an extra vehicle, I'll probably smoke in that. It's just I don't like to go to meetings and stuff and smell like smoke. So, you know, for the ministry.
When I was in the ministry in Miami, I had the worship leader over at my house, and we were having a church powwow, and we're just blazing like a champion. And he rocked up at his home, and he's got these two beautiful little girls and a good-looking son. And when he comes into the door, you know, walks into the kitchen, and his oldest daughter was about 7 years old, and she goes, You smell like Pastor Doug.
That's great.
I tell you what, you know what's interesting about in regards to the cigar smell. If you get a really good cigar, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't stink up anything.
That's right.
You get a crap
It's
stick.
not like cigarettes. Cigarettes have chemicals that cause it to stick to your clothes
if
and
you
your
get
house.
even a bad cigar, man, it's gonna put out a funk. But I had this girl come up to me. I was smoking a cigar, and she just like downwind from me doing the secondhand smoke type thing, and she goes, you know what? My dad used to smoke cigars all the time, and he passed away. She said, every time I smell a cigar, it's like I'm in the presence of my father.
That's cool.
No, I mean, again, these little things like, you stink, you're stinking this. And to her, it brought back a rich memory. Dude, she was crying. I mean, just touched, It's like nobody does it anymore and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, you're running in the wrong circles.
That's right.
She said she'd get her dad's jacket and just smell it, after he passed away and stuff. Oof, that's powerful stuff. Hey,
those smells trigger the memories, incredible memories.
Practical stuff. When you pick out a cigar, I can tell if a cigar is crap without ever lighting it. So what I do, Rich, is I look at it and try to get a cigar. Make sure it's got a smooth finish. And again, it's an organic product, so there's going to be some imperfections in it and stuff. But if it's got a bunch of big veins, and if there's like sticks and stuff that you can see, unless it's a chair root, and it's one of those cheap cowboy cigars, and that's what they're supposed to be. For. Yeah, you might if it doesn't pass the visual test, it's probably not going to pass the smoke test. So first thing I look at it. It's got to have, good construction. And then, Rich, what I do is I start feeling it. Now, mine's been lit, obviously, for a while. It's been going now for about over an hour. I try to feel in the cigar, is there any super soft spots, or is there like a hard knot?
Or if it's consistent.
Yeah, and it's got to be consistent all the way through. If you can feel a freaking knot in there, it's going to be a knot, and it's going to be like trying to pull mud out of a PVC pipe. It's not going to be enjoyable. Now you can ream it out with one of those cigar reamers and stuff, but to me, again,
or you can get a good one and not do that.
Exactly. To me, it's like, no, thank you. So it's look at it, feel it. Smell it. It's got to be, again, we're talking about engaging the senses. It's got to look good. It's got to smell good. It's got to feel good. And then what I do is cut the cigar. If it's already passed those three tests, and I cut the cigar, and then I try the draw. And it's got to draw easily. It can't be like, that kind of hard shit. Because, again, it's just not enjoyable. It's just not enjoyable.
And if it does, if it's hard to draw, then you can cut it a little deeper. Right? Like that's one of the things, maybe you need another cut. And I think a lot of people don't know that the construction of it, the cap that's on the tip, that's why you have to cut it, because you can't smoke through that cap. And so when people cut it, especially a new person smoking a cigar, don't cut past the cap. You can feel the cap or see it. If you cut past that, it's going to be ruined. It's going to unravel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a trick. And I love old guys at a cigar lounge. They'll help you. Because a cigar, I'll tell you, when I first started going to a cigar lounge, it's an intimidating place, especially you don't know what to do. You don't want to look like an idiot. You don't know what's going on. It's good to go with somebody that knows, So I went in there by myself, and I said, yeah, I'm not really good at cutting this. I told the old guy, and he said, yeah, right. And I said, no, really, this is only like the third cigar I've ever smoked. He goes, let me teach you a trick so that you never mess it up until you learn to do it right. I said, okay. So he takes the cutter, like a guillotine cutter like this, and he opens it, right? And he lays it flat on the table. And then he sticks the cigar through the tip till it hits the table and cuts it. He said, you'll never overcut it. And you know what? That helped me until I started learning, right? The right amount to cut it. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, just skim it. Don't overcut it, man. Like you said, that thing will explode like a tampon. If you cut past the cap and stuff, it'll start getting all weird, and it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it won't be enjoyable. Also on like the tiny like pin cuts, like you take a dart that you throw at a dartboard and you pop it in like that. I find a lot of times the nicotine concentrates in that little hole that you just pricked in there, and it starts getting all over your lips and stuff, and it's just too concentrated. Don't dig it at all whatsoever. So I like the wedge cut, comes in deep, it leaves the
deep V cut.
Yeah, deep V cut, come in there, just boom, cut it out, perfect. Got no complaints with that whatsoever.
Yep.
On lighting a cigar, here's what I recommend, especially if you're using, this is not an expensive lighter, this is cheap, but these are rotary.
Don't forget to take the band off the bottom if there is one.
Yeah, and if you smoke to the label, you can take that label off and keep smoking. And here's another thing about labels. If you really like a cigar, then save the frickin' label. That way, you can just start a book. You can put, there's actually cigar journals on some of these high-end type online cigar stores.
I'm going to get one of those. That's pretty cool. I'm lame. I always take a picture with my phone.
Yeah, I mean that.
I'm more practical, but I like the cigar journal. That's cool.
Yeah. No. I've got jars of cigar bands that I've saved throughout the years, and a lot of them have a lot of gold foil and silver foil and stuff. And when you put them in like a jar and the light hits it, it's like this magical jar of Christmas. But when it comes to lighting a cigar, don't get the flame close to the stick. You want to just orange it up a bit. You want to get it nice even burn. And if the cigar's worth its salt, man, you don't even have to draw on it. It's already lit.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you're initially toasting it. You're not trying to light it. You're just trying to prep it and get it nice and even before you get that fire going hot on it, because you want it to be even, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah, got to get an even burn. And also, don't hold the cigar above the lighter and then light it, especially if you've already been smoking on it, because it's going to dump ash and stuff in the jets, and that's just going to foul them up, and then you're going to, have to clean your lighter or throw the damn thing away. I've got a whole drawer of lighters in my bar back here that I've let some of my guests use that now they're completely dysfunctional because they just jammed the lighter up to the stick. It gets all kinds of trash in it and stuff. But once you find, your favorite cigar, camp, try, experiment, and do it with buddies, man. Just search them out. And if you're a lone wolf, if you're around a bunch of sassy little Christians who don't smoke cigars and thinks it's of the devil, Bobby Boucher, then go to your local cigar bar, man. And I guarantee you'll meet some closeted Christians who are smoking, and they don't want to be busted by church lady for enjoying cigars. And,
another tip that I got, Doug, on lighting and smoking cigars from an old guy. Old guy actually came up to me and he told me, he said, when you're lighting your cigar, he said, don't do like you see people when they light it and they're going like that. He said, slow and steady. And then he told me when you're smoking it, also don't do that because you see people just ripping on them, like that. He said, because what happens is and I know you know this, Doug, I'm sharing this, just sharing something the old guy showed me with the Warriors and Wildmen. So he said, when you do that and you puff it like that, you're overheating the tobacco. And he says, and you're killing all the flavor, and that's why it tastes so nasty. So I know people that had smoked cigars for a long time, and I'd see them do that, and I'd say, hey, this old guy told me. And they started like letting it cool down and just smoking it evenly, just slow, even draws. And they said, well, now I can taste all the complexities of the cigar now, because that actually, the overheating ruins the flavor of the cigar. And so I've been able to share that with a lot of young guys that were learning to smoke cigars, and it makes it a lot better, a lot more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I agree. Also, when you're finished with your cigar and you've enjoyed it, don't grind it out in a frickin' ashtray. Lay it to rest like a beloved friend who's died a good death.
Yeah.
And just lay it down, And you know what, man? If like last night, I came in from the Holy Smoke event up in Westlake in Austin, and I had a stick that I was smoking on the way back and had some of it left this morning. So I laid it gently in my ashtray, Rich. And this morning, get a cup of coffee, start working on Clash Daily a little bit, pick that bad boy up, and I smoked about 10, 15 minutes again this morning.
Wow.
Before the podcast. Yeah, it doesn't mean that if you've got that much cigar left, you can revisit that thing and it'll still it'll
Just
still give you
not in Arizona. because it's so dry. That thing will be like a brush, you know.
Man, I'd put it in a baggie and put it in the humidor, the refrigerator, or something, and bring it back out and show it some love, you know.
Well, and also remember, if you're ever in a cigar lounge or in a place where people are smoking cigars, it's actually bad etiquette to put your cigar out to do that, because the smoke that comes out of it stinks. It's terrible. So you just lay it there and you let it, and it dies. They expect it to be like that. When they clean it up, they expect that it's either lit or it's inert. So you just leave it there. They take care of it. You just leave it in the ashtray and let it go out on its own.
I had this dipstick back in Miami. We had my buddy Glenn gave me a box of true Havana Cohiba Esplendidos, and this guy had never smoked a cigar before. And like a moron, I said, here, you know, try one of these. Just total gold sticks, brother. Just my favorite true Havana cigar, that and the Monte Cristo number 2. So he smokes about an inch, and then he grinds it. I mean, I don't normally smoke a cigar after a dude, but, you know, after, you know, killing whatever bacteria and diseases and stuff that he has with fire, I'll come in there and I'll smoke. Even if he smoked on it, I'm not going to let that thing go to waste. But he just takes it and goes right into the ashtray, and I was like, dude, you will never be invited to have one of my cigars. I don't care if it's
Ever.
it's a $1.15 Dutch Master ragweed. I'm not going to do it. You completely offended what it means to be a Christian and a man.
You know what? I was smoking a Safari cigar, which you know I love those, Doug. Got a bunch of those in my humidor. But I'm smoking right now. This is called the Tabernacle. Have you heard of Tabernacle? It's by Foundation. He was one of the blenders for Drew Estates for the Liga Number 9. And so if a Liga Number 9 is one of my go-to cigars if you want to try a great cigar. It's $14, $15 range. But these Tabernacles are made by the guy that was the blender for that. And these are about $9 or $10. And this is a great cigar too. And another thing on humidor, not as big of a deal in Austin because you guys get some pretty good humidity down there. But out where we live, there is no humidity. It doesn't happen. So we have to really keep our cigars. And people have what are you showing me, Zeke? Oh, okay. Sorry. So. One of the things is you can get a humidor. Sometimes they're hard to maintain. You have to do that. But a guy that works at a cigar shop told me a trick. He said, get one of the ice chests, like from Walmart, the ones that seal real tight, right? He said, get the ice chests, and he said, and put the Humapacks in there, just the ones that you buy. Just a little Humapack. Yeah, and you throw it in there, and he said, and you get a little hygrometer that measures your humidity, and you throw it in there. I got a digital one for $9, and I threw it in there. And you know what I did is I took my Spanish cedar trays from my other humidor, and I stacked them in there so I could put. Doug, it doesn't leak. It's perfect. It's not sexy. All right. I got a really fancy, pretty, humidor sitting on top of the desk, and then under the desk I have an ugly blue Walmart ice chest that holds all of my expensive cigars because it keeps them perfectly. And I'm telling you, the maintenance is almost zero. You just
you know what you ought to do? You ought to have a woodworker there in Yuma or Phoenix build this insane, beautiful box around the cooler, and then just open it up. It's like, hello, lovely. Hey, Rich, my computer's about to die. I'm in the red zone right now. If the Warriors Wildmen would like to have a soiree, you can invite Rich and I out to come speak afterwards or before, the night before, or maybe after the meeting. We'll sit with the brothers and smoke cigars and talk about God and life and American exceptionalism and all that good stuff that is usually the accompanying banter of every cigar session I've ever been a part of.
Yep, that's right. So go to warriorsandwildmen.com. and subscribe. You got to go to our webpage, go there and subscribe. And on the top of the bar there, you'll see podcasts. You click on that, you'll find the format that you want to receive the podcast. Sign up for it. Stay connected with us, man. Find out what's going on.